Reporting for the Intermountain Christian News, I'm Dr. Matthew Anthony Harper, here in the James Brady Press Room of the White House. The top story today is the unresolved issue about Nick Fuentes. If you don't know who he was the one that Tucker Carlson interviewed. He's the white nationalist, and a lot of controversy surrounding him. Nick Fuentes has stirred up a lot regarding his views, and Tucker Carlson hasn't distanced himself from him, or he didn't challenge him in his interview with Nick Fuentes. And Megyn Kelly has not confronted Tucker Carlson about the problems with Nick Fuentes, and especially that it hasn't been addressed, that I have seen in media reports, is about the matter of hypocrisy. Hypocrisy on the part of Nick Fuentes, that claims to be a Christian. He is on his Instagram page where he says the phrase, Christ is King. And then he uses the F word language in videos. So hypocrisy about representing Christianity, because in the book of Ephesians, the Apostle Paul is talking about not letting vulgar language come out of your mouth, but to have wholesome language. And Nick Fuentes, filled with hate towards the Jewish people, towards Israel. They're not aware, and especially Nick Fuentes has a low view of Scripture. In that low view of Scripture would be not respecting the Holy Bible, about the Scriptures, especially about God's warning about dividing the land of Israel, the Holy Bible in support of Israel. Of course, in Zechariah chapter 14, you can read that. I think it's very important to read. This is about the Jewish Messiah. Yeshua in Hebrew is his name, but Jesus. He returns to the Mount of Olives, which is in Jerusalem, to set up his kingdom, but he comes back in power in a major way. It's so important to read Zechariah chapter 14. Now this continues to be an unresolved issue, needs to be addressed. Megyn Kelly, Nora, Tucker Carlson, and some others have addressed hypocrisy of the so-called Christianity that is being portrayed by Nick Fuentes, and even Tucker Carlson claims to be Christian. But these are very challenging issues for our evangelical Christian audience that hold people accountable on the matters of their hypocrisy. So what is really needed I've heard this from many of our audience, is to challenge the people on these issues and to hold a biblical perspective, to understand what the Holy Bible has to say about the land of Israel, the importance of Israel, especially in Genesis 12:3. It talks about blessings for those that bless Israel and curses for those that curse. Now this is referring to Abraham and his seed, which represent Israel. And there is a lot of condemnation about Israel happening right now, a lot of pressure on Israel. So this needs to be addressed. I'm addressing it here from the White House about the hypocrisy of Nick Fuentes and those that support him, that do not challenge him. And I am challenging him to a debate on these matters, as well as other people that hold these views. Important to read these scripture reference. I'm the religious news editor for the Intermountain Christian News, as well as the Christian Newspaper Association and the Israeli news service Newsreel. I cover a lot of Middle East issues, but I was introduced to the Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu because of my questions on anti-Semitism as it relates to the terrorist UN organization UNRWA and all the anti-Semitism that they have they're promoting in the textbooks of the UN schools, the UNRWA schools, inciting kids to hate the Jewish people. This is unacceptable. It has to be challenged in the media, and I'm doing that today. And I know President Trump is very strong on the issues of condemning anti-Semitism. He's been a leader in support of Israel with the historic move of the U.S. Embassy opening to Jerusalem, and I was there for that. But President Trump is been very good for Israel, the best president that I know of for Israel and blessing Israel. Now there's an example of about how to be more of a blessing Israel, and with the ancient figure Cyrus the Great. He was the Persian king that helped the Jewish people and allowing them to come back to Jerusalem to rebuild their temple. A lot of research, a lot of views that you can understand a biblical perspective on Israel. And regarding the dividing of the land of Israel, it is important to read this prophet Joel chapter 3 verse 2 that warns against anyone that would want to divide up the land of Israel. So any attempt to silence Israel's right to sovereignty over their land, including Judea and Samaria, is unacceptable from our Orthodox Jewish as well as evangelical Christian audience, and important to read Joel 3:2 about what it says about scattering his people, referring to the Jewish people, and dividing up the land of Israel.